What's up, guys? I'm Owen, and I left my corporate job at 23 years old. And I'm going to explain to you how I did it, why I did it, if it's right for you, and everything else that goes into changing your career, even if you're 23 years old, fresh out of college, and ultimately why I did it with social media as well, and the ways that you can use social media to do it. So, I'll start back in 2018. That was my first year of college. I was playing junior college basketball and I ended up breaking my back. I had an L5 pars defect and I couldn't play basketball anymore. So Fortnite had just came out and I was always a huge gamer. You know, whether it was Call of Duty or Destiny or any of those games, I loved it. That's all I did other than playing basketball. And I decided, you know what, let me play Fortnite professionally. So that's what I did. And I literally grinded Fortnite. I bought a computer with the money I had saved from graduating high school and the job I was working. And I went and bought a computer. It was like $1,200 for the whole setup, but it got me my start, which is important. And I basically grinded Fortnite literally for 12, 15 hours a day for a year. And I had my first pro event in Redondo Beach, California. It was WSOE 3. And from that point on, I was a pro. And I did that while so I was doing that full time. And then I ended up going to Clemson and pursuing a business degree because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I didn't know if gaming would be the be all end all for me. And plus my mom also really wanted to see me get a degree. So I started doing that and it was going decently well, to be honest with you. I was an average student, nothing crazy. Had like a 3.1 GPA when I graduated. I had a couple classes that like chemistry or bio that I didn't care, like honestly. And I was honestly playing Fortnite still. You know, I had a crazy schedule when I was gaming. That was the goal, as I wanted to make it out. I didn't want to just go to school and get a degree. It's not why I was there. I was there because I had nowhere else to go. So I was honestly playing Fortnite professional scrims from like 6 p.m. to like midnight. And then I would, aim train, work on mechanics, do all of those things from early in the morning, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to like 5 or 6 a.m. And then I would go to class for my 8 a.m. class, 10 a.m. class, or whatever it was, come home and sleep. And so I'd sleep from like noon to like 6 p.m. And I'd do that cycle again. And it was one of the worst sleep schedules of all time, but it honestly got me to being a professional gamer. And I still was able to finish Clemson with like a 3.1 GPA. And I had this last class at Clemson and two classes. They were called creative inquiry. So I was working in tandem with Boeing and Deloitte in classes that were led by people in those companies that were for Clemson students. And those were going really well too. I ended up presenting at the Boeing facilities in Charleston, South Carolina. And we had a really good project. We built a autonomous UV robot that would go up and down the airplane aisle, which was great. Like, it was really cool. It had arms that moved with the contour of the seats to get within that like 6-inch range for the type of UVC we're using. I forget the nanometer specific requirement, like 180 or something. I don't remember, but basically it worked pretty well. Speech went well, and people at Boeing were asking like if I wanted to work there. And I had just broken up with my ex-girlfriend who lived in Charleston, so I really had no desire to live in Charleston. I'm like, I'm not going to work there. Sorry, guys. And so what I noticed is I would put my personal life above like what I wanted to do for my career, right? Like, most people would be like, hey, great job working with Boeing, business student, you'll make good money right out of school. You should do it. And I was just like, not really. Like, I don't really want to be there. Like, it's more important where I live and what I do day to day than the career. So that was that creative inquiry with Boeing. And then I went to do the creative inquiry with Deloitte, and that was also really, really good. That one specifically I liked a little bit more, I think, than the Boeing one. It was just tech consulting. Like, it was basically a mock semester of working with Deloitte and doing an ERP implementation for Oracle. So that was basically our semester project. And so we did that. My group was the best group in the class. We ended up getting the highest grade. I was the one doing the presentations and stuff because for whatever reason I had a little bit more tech savviness to me, and I also do like presenting and speaking like clearly, right? So this was supposed to be something that I do for my career. But they wouldn't even interview me because my GPA was a 3.1, and in order to get an interview from that class to work with Deloitte, they hired a few people from our class, you had to have a 3.5 or higher. And so they're like, hey, like obviously you did great and everything, but you didn't even get a 3.5. Like we can't interview you. And I was like, damn, like maybe, me prioritizing gaming and all those things that I love to do, like maybe there's just a reason for that. And so what I ended up realizing was maybe I'm just not supposed to work the corporate job, but I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I started posting on social media. So what I ended up realizing was like, okay, Boeing and Deloitte didn't work out for me. I still need to make income. And I had decided that social media was the way I was going to do it, because I tried everything else like gaming, basketball, like my passions. Social media was the last one I haven't tried. And I was watching Marcus Milioni. I don't know if you guys know him on TikTok, but like huge inspo for me. Like I loved his running videos, how authentic he was, all of those things, his storytelling, his level of discipline, like things like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna start posting too. Who cares? So I started posting in 2022. And by 2023 in May, I got my first brand deal with Whoop, which was a 5 video deal per month for 6 months, and each video was $750. The UGC videos were $1,000 and the sponsored posts were $500. So it averaged out to about $750 per video, which was crazy. And at this time, I was working fully remote for a sales company in New York City. I visited the office once, but I was making basically $4K a month after taxes and everything. If that, I mean, it was crazy because New York City taxes are crazy. So what I ended up doing was stacking more of those brand deals that I had done with Whoop. And I realized like once I signed the contract, like, oh, this is 6 months of guaranteed income, so as long as I get a few more of these, like I can ramp it up. And so I started going on TikTok more. I got that deal, by the way, it's called UGC. I got that deal with like 2,000 Instagram followers, which is where they DM me. And I had like 10K followers on TikTok. And so they're paying me crazy, which was awesome. And what I ended up doing was stacking a few more of those deals, and then also the Creator Rewards program came out on TikTok as well. And the Creator Rewards program would pay you per 1,000 views that you get, like RPM or CPM. And I basically was making like $2.50 per 1,000 views. And I did in total over 70K with the Creator Rewards program in 2023. Printed. It was crazy. So I was doing like 15K, 20K a month with the brand deals and with Creator Rewards programs. So I was like, I'm a full-time creator. So I left the job and I did that stuff full-time. Now, people were thinking like, oh, you're crazy leaving the job. Like you're not a big influencer. You don't even have 100,000 followers yet or any of this stuff. But for me, it was like, I know UGC is a valuable model. And so what I ended up doing was taking my earnings and I would pay a virtual assistant $400 a month to send 50 messages a day for me on Instagram and 50 emails a day to me to brands. And it was a very similar template. It was, I'm Owen, I'm a UGC creator for Whoop and Lulu. Please, I'd love to make videos for you or something like that. So I showed them like who I am, what I do, and I want to do it for them. And that's all it was. And I also leveraged the fact that I was working with big companies. And so I kept getting deals like that, paying $400. So I didn't know this at the time, but that's basically like, my customer acquisition cost, which is like $400 a month to my VA to message these people. In every like video, like my minimum rate for a video is like $500, right? So like a single video would make that back, and I did a ton of them. So it's just a really easy way to have consistent income with UGC. But what I ended up realizing was I'm just trading my time for money, and there's got to be a better way to do it. So what I ended up doing was hosting my own UGC community instead. And the UGC community, I had to learn everything about online business in order to, have good fulfillment and make sure that creators are happy, their socials are growing, they're getting more deals, all of those things. Because I didn't want to keep doing all these deals. And I had a lot of brands reaching out to me, but I was like, hey, I have a community of creators. I can connect you with them. And they'll probably even have cheaper rates than I would because I've been doing this for massive brands and stuff. And so that's what ended up happening. And honestly, it worked really well, but setting up the community and making sure it was thriving. I mean, I only had like 10K followers on Instagram, if that, when I started. So I grew it. Now I have like 18K, but I grew that community to a comfortable 30 to 40K a month in 2024. And then in 2025, the first month we did I think it was like a little over 75K. It was 100K collected in 45 days, which is pretty crazy. So there's tons of opportunity to run online businesses if you're a content creator, or if you have any business savvy and you understand that social media is a big driver of business. A lot of people still don't understand how it's possible, but they don't understand funnels or marketing or organic content or performance marketing or any of this stuff. So it makes sense why they don't get it. But to me, it was actually crazy that I would post, let's say I post 3 times a day and I get 5K views on average. That's 15,000 eyeballs on my content on Instagram, which has a higher buying intention than TikTok. So I stopped posting to TikTok, and I'm getting 15,000 people every single day looking at my content that I'm driving towards my community. And it's targeted around UGC creators that want to make money, because UGC is kind of niche, but also kind of not. Like, it's one of the main ways to make money now as a creator. But when I started, it really wasn't. It was still, people were like, what is UGC? Even you might be asking that now. But now it's gotten to a pretty strong point. And so the next evolution for me was, and then just bring in coaches and stuff to help me along the way. Like yesterday, we had my accountant come in and give a speech to the UGC community about getting brand deals and how to write off those deals and things that you have to buy and equipment and how much space you can write off in your apartment or home, why you should get a 2-bed instead of a 1-bed, like all these different things in terms of tax purposes. So like, bringing stuff like that into the community, helping them grow, like, to me, that's extremely fun, And so the next thing I want to do is just make YouTube videos, because I do think YouTube, after being on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram for a while, I think YouTube is the best audience. People come on YouTube and they want to learn. They want to sit down and click a thumbnail and learn. So that's the next plan. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you guys later, and make sure you take chances and you do the same thing. You can make it happen.